Call special meeting, Vernon Town to order. And it is a special meeting, so I think we'll just take attendance. Or just note attendance, who's here. We have one visitor. Haley's here. I've kind of talked about this meeting for a little while, and I wanted to get you up to date on what I've been working on over the last few months, and especially in the last couple of weeks in a big way, regarding the future of Vernon, the vision going forward. And a big part of this is because I've been thinking hard and looking hard as to when funding becomes available, we really need to be poised and ready. Ways. One reason I asked Haley to be here is because some of what I want to talk about, I think, is going to dovetail with the master plan. And we have the unified voice, if you will, between the park master plan and the town. I think that would help a lot going forward. But the three things I kind of want to talk about is the vision of the town, if you will, so that we can, if funding became available tomorrow, for example, we can tell people, here's where we want to spend our money. Here's what we want to do. Here's what we want to do. The second thing I want to talk about is the utilities. And I'll just be honest, I have been researching hard privatizing things. Then the third thing was maybe not as big a deal, but it's been brought up in a lot of meetings. The charter, as I read it, and as I have been told, is kind of locked in. We can't make changes to it without invalidating it, maybe going to have to lose our uniqueness, if you will. Mm-hmm. But I also see that there's been ordinance changes in the past that I feel like made some of the changes that we could still make that would help all of us a little bit without invalidating. Now again, this may be a legal question, but I want to pick your guys' brains. I'm not going to go down. I'm not going to go too far if you guys aren't, if we're not on the same thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, number one on the vision. Mm-hmm. My thoughts were that we make ourselves a walking community, mm-hmm. a kayaking community, and promote a community center, which is here. I think those three things are the things that if somebody said, what do you want to spend your money on? We've got those lined up. And the reason I say the walking is because we already got the trail started on this. But we can do more sidewalks, streets, curbs, storm, all of those things under being focused as a walking community. I mean, that's the park, if you will. But I noticed like Washington Street's one of our busiest streets and doesn't have a sidewalk anywhere else. And other streets all of a sudden I realized don't have sidewalks at all. Some have
sidewalks that are real bad.
They're real bad and some are decent.
Yes.
Okay, so there's the walking. The kayaking, I think the biggest thing is we start off pushing Collins is the launch, kayak launch point, canoe launch, however we want to term it. But then now we have this Water Street trail.
Yeah.
And I ran the mileage. It's almost, it's 1.9 mile, river mile.
Nice.
And it's almost perfect because when you get there, then you got a straight shot to walk back. Mm-hmm. And we mentioned at that park master plan meeting about kayak racks and some things. I think we just kind of
and if you're going to kayak like from the Commons to the Green Bridge, that's at least
it's 5.5.
Yeah, I mean that's a long way, and I would be like, oh, that's like almost
4 hours every day.
That's 4 hours. I know, Joe said we're going too fast, but I mean, usually people do about 4 hours. But if you had another stop,
Right.
there, that'd be a great idea because I think a lot more people would do it. just because it would be, you know, it's not your whole day.
Oh, it is. It's a great little,
Yeah.
especially.
Well, that's what I was thinking. And again, I'm saying this because if money came up, I want to be able to move
Don't Frank,
on some of this.
that state to,
Oh,
if you could get the state then to maybe make it.
It's paid us then.
Well, the,
I thought,
or the, whoever is in charge of the trail. That
I thought the DNR was thinking.
No, Matt was talking to him for down in the Commons because the fire department asked.
No, I mean, when they first started talking about the trail and everything,
Yeah.
at one time they said something about putting up some kind of ramp. And that here's what it was basically,
on their side of the river, because they go into the middle of the river.
well, down here, waters.
Yeah, but they could, I mean, I guess that they could put it, who owns that? Do we own it?
We,
Opposite side.
well, Waters, or
Well, you got.
actually Jackson Street right away goes.
So we, so.
Well, I'm looking at this that we maybe don't build a ramp per se.
Yeah.
I mean, same with the Commons, we just make improvements. If we get to it later to a concrete ramp or something, fine, but for now, just clean it up, make it improvements, make it known, get signage, get things like that, because with kayaks and canoes, you don't need anything, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, just need a good place to push in. But the main thing, of course, is here, because I think we just got a great start here. We continue the momentum. The patio we talked about maybe, but obviously whatever we can do with this gym, these rooms as we improve them, and promotion and promotion and promotion. Wade had a good idea, but again, I don't want to do it without you guys thinking that we solicit advertising on banners inside the gym. He was somewhere that had done that.
High school did that at one point.
So maybe that is something again. I just want to again, and I really think it may not be too long till we have some funding. I really don't.
Why do you think?
I just, between when I talked to the TIF and some of the other things I've been
Okay.
hearing, and again, it may also be grant opportunities. But there may be, we've talked about bonding, so we want to maybe think at some point in time, do we want to look into borrowing money for the town? May not, maybe we won't need to, again,
Yeah, that'd be great if we didn't need to.
Yeah,
but we know like the restrooms are $100,000.
Yeah.
You just know that. Air conditioning
We
this
have-
place. Air conditioning this place could be close to $500,000, so I don't know if we'd ever want air.
I think you were talking one time about those great big exhaust fans. I think that, I mean,
It would do one.
a $500,000 air conditioning project in here, I mean,
and then to have to pay every month.
well, and how cool is it gonna be? I know the high school audit, or the gym, where they have graduation every year. We have to turn that down to like 65, 3 days ahead of time, for it to be halfway cool in there. And is that gonna cost us a fortune?
Yeah.
And I think those big exhaust fans might be the answer.
It was,
Yeah,
Terry Gosman's, what's his, Terry Gosman's husband?
Jason.
yes.
Who brought it up as much too, because, I mean, that's what big factories do, and it's efficient. Yeah, a day like today,
Today, nobody.
it's still gonna be, but it's gonna be better than it is at the moment. That's But those are the kind of things, like I said, I'm not sure on some grants yet, or if we want to think about bonding, but maybe something will come up to where we have match money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, at this point, we don't have match.
I think we need to be prepared, whatever the vision is.
Yeah.
Because there will be opportunities. We've seen that even with the current like changes in how federal and state funding is going, there are still pockets of money out there. And I know I've seen a lot through work of a focus on in rural areas, like outdoor recreation as a form of tourism to generate local business. So like I know there's still people focused on that federal level, because I've gotten some like LinkedIn posts and things like that about those topics. So I mean, I think the kayaking piece, if that's connected to this, that's can slot into that really nicely.
So that is dependent on weather though.
Mhm.
Yeah,
For sure.
I mean, this is the initial.
Yeah, usually
You go out there right now. It's
you can,
low.
it's low, but it's, I think you can still kayak, but usually this time of year, there's like this much water.
Yeah,
But this is the kind of day that any water that is accessible would be a benefit.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's probably people down there who as much.
yeah, and they talked about it, the Parks Master Plan session, the info session, if I'm remembering right, about just connecting with the water and like whether that's a kayak put in or something else, just a way to be in the water.
And
There's something down at the commons. I don't know if it's just a drug deal, but I think there's people down there every day with kids and they're either fishing or their kids are getting in the water. I mean, there's somebody down there every time I walk down there. Now, occasionally there are unsavory situations, but for the most part, I don't think they are. I think it's people fishing and just taking their kids and I think that's a good idea.
well, if you think those things are the vision, then I will work harder on them. And have them in my pocket, if you will, so that funding and things come, if anybody asks me for what they used to call an elevator. I would be kind of prepared.
The one other thing that I sometimes think about, is we have, and I know we've talked about this some during going younger and I like, got a lot of vacant homes, we've got some vacant lots. I think one of, and John was kind of as tangential to our conversation one time about, how many people there are in town to be involved in the political process in general, but like just if we can find a way to get, I know these things help, but just the housing piece, more people moving to town.
I'm gonna,
That,
Yeah, there are so many
We can-
houses in Vernon.
yeah, and like the storefronts downtown. Half of them don't have any kind of setup for residential space upstairs, but they could be used for that. And like if there was funding or a way to address that, or even just someone like Steel Myers who came around sometime and wanted to work on property, like what would we have to say the town supported with that? But, yeah, that's the one other thing that pops in. The others I'd definitely agree with, and especially with the trail.
you mentioned downtown, what we could do, we took kind of a group tour of the Oddfellows building. Last Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on last Friday. And we were all,
It's awful.
yeah, it's terrible.
I don't know who in their right mind would buy a building.
I did.
You could put millions of dollars in it. You could have 20 people working full time, and I still don't think. I can't, they should have torn it down. After I went through it, it's like they should have just torn it down.
Back of the envelope, I figured 700,000. And they're asking $1 million. And it's just,
No one's thinking on
I just don't see it.
At least $1 million.
You
isn't it?
just have to have somebody that's just independently wealthy and
And
have anything else to do and.
one of the projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's,
And maybe they make money.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, you know, what, say you did get it fixed up, then what if nobody wants to rent it?
Right.
Then you're really in trouble. I don't know, it's sad and depressing.
All right, well, I add housing into our kind of vision. But there is one other thing here at the gym I want to discuss.
Okay.
And I brought this up to a number of people already, but I do want to make sure you guys know there's one opinion. It's not everybody's. I think we need to get an address for this entrance of South Street.
I knew I was here for a reason.
Because we're having a hard time getting people to understand 29 Washington. And if they come to it, they don't know to go any further around. And I also thought for 911, if we ever get a 911 call, if we get busy. Now, somebody may know to come here, but they may not. They'll come around and park over there out in the road until somebody tells them, come back
We
here.
already made the sign that says entrance and back. Entrance being
We-
that building.
We've got some of those signs, but I think we needed a little bit more. And Amber told me this morning, why not just keep both addresses? 29 Washington and this one South Street.
That way we
Then-
can keep the utilities
We keep
Don't
whatever we
29
need to for
Washington
people
for
that know
Duke
that.
and Midwest Gas. And then have it addressed back here on South Street.
Can you do that?
Well, I have not approached area plan, but if you guys think it should be done, I will.
Then when you put it
Problem.
in during the gym, you've got two different budgets.
So,
Yeah. But nothing ever comes up from GPS anyway.
Just the way this street is out here. Like this is, or any, south or popular.
I know.
Well, you'd almost have, we have to make sure we had a good sign out there at the corner. Or something saying it,
Mhm.
so they know that.
Well, signage is something to talk about. So, again, that may be some funding if something comes.
Or maybe
Okay.
a sidewalk.
That
That would be-
Well, again, that's,
maybe the thing would be talk to, call to 911. Find out what kind of, if it's gonna really create any kind of problems for them.
To have two entrances.
The other thing is eventually we're gonna have those front doors working.
are we? I mean, I don't know. I mean, let's face it.
I mean, it's gonna be a long time, but eventually,
That's
We
what I
are.
feel, yeah. Maybe should.
Well,
If we can't, should.
I look at them only at this point in time as for exit. So, but if down the road we will. Okay, let me see if we just get it set up like I said. Because if we call out an event that brings in people from out of town at some point in time, we need to point them to that.
yeah.
And an address is the easiest place. Yeah. I mean signage, but you gotta get them here to start. Okay.
But I just think we need to make sure there's not gonna be any confusion. So when somebody, it's not out there playing basketball. And they call, because, nobody uses landline anymore, so it's not gonna
No.
pop up on their,
Right.
Right.
on their computer that, hey, they're coming from 21 South Street, They're going to town, it's 21 South Street, or probably it's town suburban gym anyway, but it's,
Right.
I mean,
Well, I haven't talked to anybody else yet, but I'll talk to Marie and Britt maybe and keep working and see what I come. But I didn't want to do it until you guys come. But again, I was like, oh shit.
There's the investigation.
Investigation. Okay, that was subject the first. Subject the second is the one I probably put more time in than it is. Utilities. And one reason I want to talk about this is because if we says, how come you're not, if somebody says, okay, here is funding, how come you're not putting any into your infrastructure meeting? I'd like to be able to say, because we're looking at getting rid of it. And make sure they understand that's why we're not, because it had been brought up before by other people that if we had $1 million, we'd spend it on water. So, well,
Would really,
I didn't say that.
I know, but I think that would be interesting. I don't know what the answer is.
I don't either, but I've done a lot of research and we could look into letting somebody else have the operations which you guys, I think, have talked to North Vernon in the past. And they, I don't think we're too interested.
Not really.
I talked to Jack Kelly, a councilman, and he says he thinks it would be a good idea, but he knows that other people would not support it.
Oh, on their water board or something?
Yeah, and on their Russell.
Yeah, well, Russell, yeah, just,
Why
Russell.
do they want it?
well, Russell, that's just like he told me, I think, I had a meeting with him, he said something about he wouldn't mind taking the water over with it.
Not the storage.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
I talked to Brian Hatfield.
I mean, he's just superintendent, he's
Sure.
about it.
Yeah, he's not gonna make the final.
The final,
But even then, I don't think they'd take over the system. They might operate for us, but I don't think they'd take it over. They might. But then I also talked to Brian Hatfield, who used to be with the city and now is on the board of Jennings West. And but a lot of paper about Jennings Northwest. But when I talked to him, he said he thinks it makes great sense. They are a county entity. He says you're a county seat. It only makes good sense in his head that we should do something like that as a partnership or work together or, take it over. But I haven't heard any more from him about it.
Well, how could JNRU, that's who
Right.
but how since we buy our water from North Vernon, how would that work?
I mean, you could still operate it from another, you don't have, like,
Well-
they would just handle the buying of the water. Like, someone else can do that. It's not like it's.
So, I mean, that-
Physically.
System isn't gonna change. I mean, they process the sewage and we buy the water.
Right, and that's one reason why it seems so difficult at this point in time in my mind. And why, when we buy the water from North Vernon, we have to have an operator, license operator. And then wastewater goes back to North Vernon, and we're responsible.
It's just crazy.
It doesn't.
And we're not
Well,
big enough to,
yeah, it never used to be that way when you first started.
No.
Because I bet people that used to be work 7 years. Or you cancel. Well, why don't you just do this? Well, you just can't do that.
Well, and I'm getting deeper into it. I'm finding out more and more how many things. I don't want to say awful. So how many things are heavily regulated and more coming and beyond our expertise. And then also how many things that we've had going on that are, let's just say mismanaged. And we've spent money in places we sure didn't need to. And, but the next way to handle this though, and I have already talked to people, is we could do a full sale, water and sewer. There are buyers. And I talked to American Water, which has Seymour.
Okay.
And I don't know how much else in the state. They are interested. We'd be far and away very small. But they did they liked hearing that we had upgraded the meters. And then we've got 2 lift stations in process. Because they would look at it same as anybody buying a commercial operation.
Right.
And they do an appraisal. And there's a statute on this I can go through it. But there's an appraisal. They would first off, if we're really interested, we have to get them some information, some of the same stuff we have to get read, some of the exact same stuff. They would make a soft offer. And then if we wanted to go farther, they would get into details with appraisals and et cetera, It could probably take 2 years. And it's time consuming to do it, but it would be illegal. No numbers have been thrown out of it. But it's like any commercial or even buying a house. You have an asset, you have your liabilities. They would determine the value of the asset. And it's called fair market value. There's 16 states that do it in this method. It's fair market value, and I'm sure they would look at a customer base over 20 years. Our debt, which I think we owe USDA, and we will
We
we
just-
owe a water.
Just the two USDA loans, one's a water bond and then the other's the sewer, the 200,000 that we just borrowed.
That's the USDA.
Yeah, they're both USDA.
So anyway, they would do something, and it would be as straightforward as we value the system at $2 million and you owe $500,000, you'll get 1.5 million in check. Just spend as you wish, not right. And then you're done.
Right.
Now, that's one of the pros. The cons, of course, is they will probably raise rates. Your constituents will no longer come to you about any part of it. They,
And no,
it's terrible. But you lose all that local connection, but at the same time, they don't mess around if somebody doesn't pay their bill.
Yeah,
That's what, you know, we're too soft.
we're too
just
soft.
I mean, you know people and you're like, well, that just happened or, and
Yeah.
we need to get just much more regulated and say, you know, these notices go out.
I have a question too, that like other cons or things to consider, I guess, maybe not cons, but like, are there any mechanisms to make sure that they're investing in the infrastructure and system over time?
Yes.
And
That
then,
can be part of the agreement. And
okay,
that is one reason you want to sell it, is because an operator owned, if you brought them in, for example, they do this, they said that they used to do it,
you know,
but other places still will be a long-term operator for you, a 99-year lease.
Right.
But they're not going to put any capital into your system. They're going to turn it back to you and say, you need to
Get rid of the
put
system.
capital. And so we'd still be on the hook.
Right.
Yeah. All along. Might not be for a while, but at some point in time it would be. Whereas with a private capital improvements, anything regulatory, a lift station goes down, they got to take care of it.
something I'm curious about, Brad. So when you sent out the email about the utilities on that municipality,
Mm-hmm. You saw that?
I mean, did you get any responses?
I got a lot of
Did you?
them. I got a lot of them.
Because I mean, I didn't see any of the responses.
No, this responses apparently only came back to me.
I mean, sometimes you do see responses. Somebody's, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that was kind of strange.
So I was just kind of curious, you know, if you had any.
A couple attorneys that were looking for business.
Mhm.
And a couple advisors, kind of, a bank utility, I think was one. Looking for that. And, but then a couple towns. One of them, I mean, a couple of them didn't seem to understand what I was coming at. But then one guy just yesterday sent me a list of 5 other companies that he has talked to for the same exact thing, but he's in Northern. And I can't remember the names he mentioned. So yeah, I did.
Well, I mean, I was just curious.
But one,
Any response?
I did, and one of the towns sent me the state statute, Indiana code, something. And I'd already read it before I talked to American Water. So I got a pretty good, I mean, yeah, I'm getting, I think, good information. I'm only mentioning American Water because I've talked to them. But it doesn't mean we can't bring in a couple others, kind of competition. But there doesn't appear to be, like I said, I don't want to talk to anybody who, like a rural water company that only wants to operate the water and not the sewer. I just think, and again, if you guys don't want to, you tell me what to do, but I don't see the future in utilities. I just see more headaches.
Yeah, I'm open to exploring options. I would agree, like I don't want to split water and wastewater. I think that's just a silly. I mean, if we're gonna do one, we might as well do the whole headache, right?
Yeah,
I am more hesitant about a private company that's far away. Decisions are made far away from us. I understand that they will be more consistent in applying fees and making sure people pay, but on the back end, like I'm worried about the mechanisms just in general with decision making, but I'm not opposed to it on its face. I just am more hesitant about that. So I would like to have any information we can get. And that's my thoughts on it.
You can go online and type in pros and cons of utility privatization. Get
Yeah.
more balance of their hits than everything you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, there's pros and cons. It's just one of those things.
Right.
But
You know, that. Say 20, 30 years. What's going on, as I can see this, PSA plastic stuff coming out on test for that or filter for it or something, you know. Of course, you saw the lead thing coming until Detroit, you know.
Yeah.
It's been started up, you know, stuff like that, because every little thing that comes out, and it's gonna be
Mhm.
Yeah, and none of us are experts in
Right.
this. You know, when something comes up, it's like that 120 water.
oh, I
Really, we didn't really know that we had the option of not hiring them. I mean, we didn't really understand what they were gonna do, and depending on, you know, it's just like, we, I don't feel like, I know for myself, I'm not qualified to make a lot of those decisions.
Yeah.
It needs to be somebody who's an expert. It's just like, we're just trying to survive or something.
Right.
With this,
well, that 120 water was trying to get us for about $5,500.
yeah,
And that I agree with that sentiment for sure. It's like I don't know that a town our size needs to be in this game much longer or at all.
yeah,
Well, if that's what you think, I'll keep working hard on pursuing, I guess, the full sale. And I have some other companies, and what I can do is, when you guys pull your stuff for reading, I'll give you the list of what I need,
okay,
and I will send it to American Water and to 2 or 3 out of the list that these guys sent me the other day. Let's say get 3 and see how they answer. And I can put it, I'll have them we'll ask for a soft offer. Somehow, whatever, and see what happens. I mean, if it comes back that they don't offer any money,
Right. Have to reconsider.
because I don't know what the numbers might be.
Is
No idea.
is there a way to include our like neighboring public entities that operate systems in that discussion about a full sale?
Well, we'll have to tell more Vernon. But I can do that at any time and just tell her, hey, because these companies may be going to you and asking you questions.
Yeah. I'd also just like that to be out there in the sense that like if someone does have an interest and wants to throw it out and move.
yeah, I mean, once they find out we're really gonna do
We're
this.
serious.
Okay, we'll take it.
Because there's something about losing all of the customers the town represents permanently forever, because no private company is gonna
Yeah,
divest themselves, or at least not for the foreseeable future, so if that discussion happens.
nice bit of fire.
Well, that's.
because I don't think they really considered it
Right.
completely when we talked to them.
Yeah, I mean, it was very tentative ideas at the time, so I think if we're gonna have that conversation with private companies, I want to make sure our North Vernon, but other public utilities in the area too have the conversation.
Okay. I don't know anybody other than North Vernon that have water and sewer.
But
Well, no, I really, I can't do it.
yeah,
It's like the mine, so names.
Community corner.
Can be water. Hey,
I mean, just because they have water, does that mean they would shut down any idea of thinking about buying an existing sewer operation? I mean, if their people are certified to do both and they're just doing water, is that,
It's my opinion. But
they would avoid that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
we want somebody to do.
oh, yeah, absolutely,
I
Silly.
I would only consider that if they're doing both.
Okay, well then I will look harder into it. I'll look harder into it, see if we can start pulling together.
Thanks for all your.
I don't know if we need a motion on that. I think again, it's just discussion, it's just research. Yeah. You know, and then if something gets in front of us, where we need to. Sure. Okay.
Thanks for all your work on researching, so.
Yeah, I just,
It's a welcome conversation.
after going through a lot of emails back and forth,
Yeah, because
Um,
just right.
we're good.
More and more
it,
and more,
yeah, and more keeps going.
Right.
and more things are gonna break down. I mean, it's just not gonna get any better.
Okay, well then the last thing was I mentioned was the ordinance changes to the charter. And you know better than I do about how charter, I guess, went to the appeals court.
I know very little.
Well, I was thinking, John, I think you probably maybe know how it went. They upheld the uniqueness of it as long as we didn't change the charter. But it appears to me we've been changing it over the years. Some of the changes are in the charter when they went from 5 wards to 3.
Yeah.
That's in there. And then we're doing other ordinances, it seems like, that technically are to some degree different. Or affecting the charter when it just so much as when we say no parking on this side of the street. But I thought about it because you guys have talked about the town board being all at large. I don't know why we couldn't do it. But it's up to you. Point. You talked about it.
Yeah,
And you either, somebody mentioned expanding back to 5 members, but again, I don't know if you want to do that or, but if you just, you're all voted on.
right. I think the only thing that we struggled with when reading the town charter, when we talked about it last, was that the town charter specifically calls out like the different wards, and Ward 1 in particular has a responsibility that's above and beyond. So like using the language of boards, we could just make them all the same as the boundaries of the town, but you'd still have to like decide which board you're running. Like typically when you have, what I've seen in other communities is that you have a whole slate and whoever the top 3 are and get elected. I don't think we could ever do that with the town charter because you'd still have to select into which ward you wanted to run for, even if each ward covered the town. Does that make sense?
Or you could just say whoever got the most votes is Ward 1.
Yes, that's also true.
Read comments.
Get real funny. We'd have some real funny games about whether or not people actually vote for themselves.
Don't vote for me.
Don't vote for me.
Well, the other part of this that really may affect it more so than just changing that is what got me thinking hard was how could we expand the town borders and annex Twin Cities?
I've had to get in a lot.
Well, we heard it sold.
Again?
Don't mind.
Or doing mine.
But I thought of this before I had heard that simply because if any development ever occurred, that's sitting there in the catbird seat.
Yes.
Is that in the TIF district?
I don't know that it is.
That's a good question.
In the county to probably, they
Take a lot of properties.
Suppose. This is all I heard when they went to the TIF district didn't go on the south. Was that all that money was supposed to be for private?
yeah, I don't believe that when I see it.
Well, they told me, they never said all, but they said yes, but it'd probably be 2027. I'm still waiting for another meeting. You and I don't go,
Yeah,
is they're going to tell us how this new SB1 and all this stuff works.
I know.
And I'm still waiting on that, but that's one of the reasons I said I wanted to get kind of our thoughts in order.
yeah.
So just to this thought about expanding the town boundaries, like. I am. Not in any urgent sense, but I'm mildly concerned about the future of Vernon because of its size. And if there's an opportunity to expand town boundaries, to expand our population and what's developed in the area around us, I think that's something we should explore. Now, with the town charter being what it is, obviously I think we should try, obviously, but I've had the thought of that is a large parcel of land right next to the town. I've daydreamed about what I would do with that. I don't think it's something to avoid thinking about by any means. I also, the program I was just in for the last 2 extensions, of course, I had a chance to meet people who have experience with doing master site plans for large developments or small developments. So this is like 70 acres or 80 acres, something like that. And it's the type of thing where I would feel comfortable reaching out either way for advice in that process, if we wanted to work with whoever's developing that property and help them find good people for that.
Yeah, what's he doing?
Yeah,
With it?
do we know? Well,
The study was just basically defining it as a family compound, like a family, almost like for um, recreation.
hunting,
I think maybe put
It's
in
everything.
Yeah.
a lake or something, or just like a
You know-
recreational complex, or
Let me look for it first, because
If he does that, I mean,
Dago Mayor's got one.
yeah. But if he puts in a housing addition, that's a whole different story.
yes, yeah. That's the question where like if they were talking housing addition. The people I had a chance to meet the last 2 weeks, one of them does pro bono work for one community a year, and I asked one point, because like, can I appreciate about that for the town that I live in and work with? And they said they'd be open to talking with me. I don't think that's a definite yes, but like if we had the opportunity to help someone plan a really great development,
Yeah,
I know people who've asked. Who are very well known around not just the country but the world.
So did we have on call at one time? Talked about. And first putting water and sewer. To get it built. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, thanks, yeah.
And because Al's supervisor, for sure. I was told because charge.
I wonder how true if we found a legal expert who could help us navigate that. Or work with Brianna. Yeah,
it's zoned commercial, but what got me thinking is maybe it's all floodplain.
significant.
If it's all, well, then we probably.
Only about half of it. Like, that's still 40 acres.
Bill's for me.
oh, is it? Oh, and he's in the floodplain,
Whose property?
swords, they're right,
He goes straight in.
you drive right into their house if you kept going.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most of their properties in the floodplain, not their houses, but the rest of the property is. The Twin Cities, the racetrack, like everything below their bowl and the racetrack is, most of it below is in the floodplain, but everything above that is not. If you look at the GIS system and the.
That's what I was just trying to look at. It's not in me.
Yeah, if you look at the floodplain overlay, like about half the properties floodplain. This.
But make it fun. State places house is,
With the big barn in the back.
yeah, that's all.
Like Linda Smock's, where Stacy Bobby on, the house is not in the floodplain,
Yeah,
but all the
that's-
yard is.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's like take that out, it's because
the house is there.
I don't know,
you know
but
what I
maybe,
mean?
yeah,
Because if they wouldn't let, they were not gonna let. There's some people who want to buy that property, they can fund it, and build a house, they can fund it.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I don't know, there's price and stipulations, you could.
You could,
have to
but
jump
yeah.
there, it's like.
Yeah.
You know, it's all flood, so it's like. They, you know, give a stipulation like for houses that were built before,
Mhm.
you know, 1970 or, you know, whatever, like I said.
Mhm.
So it didn't necessarily have to buy flood insurance.
Yeah.
Well, again, that was just one of the things that I don't. I don't. You come tell me. Just I thought about it before. I don't know.
I just don't know where to begin with that question.
I don't really know.
I have the same question, but I don't know who to go to first.
And do we just let it? I might call Doyle. Why don't I call Doyle and say, hey,
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'd love to know what's happening.
because if he wants utility access, we're the ones. But now,
But it's not-
There's a house in there decided.
Yeah,
well, who has water?
we don't have anything.
Like who does?
Jenny,
Okay, but sewer.
Well, there's a house on the other side of the property and out, like on the edge of North Vernon, south of Snobville that has, I shouldn't call that, that has a connection to the city, I'm assuming, right?
What are you talking about?
Like north of the property, like you just jump the river to the north and then you're already in that whole neighborhood.
yeah, the only property or the only thing we
There's a
have
big farm field,
outside
but there's a.
is Indian House.
Yeah, there's no sewer. There's no sewer up at your Creek. John and Holly Graham's.
So the houses on the edge of that neighborhood are all septic, that's what I think,
Oh, yeah, there's no sewer.
but that neighborhood.
Sewer doesn't start.
It's not a pill.
You know about Greenbrier?
Yeah, Greenbrier.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
right. They're on sewer, but that's all.
Right, so are we. I just.
They're from like, they're from Tampa, they're
Yeah, they're in the city,
city.
but I'm saying like. I mean, there's something. What's
The cow.
Yeah, cow. You got all the cow in. And sewer doesn't cross what used to be Highway 50 Buckeye Street. Sewer doesn't cross that bridge.
Okay, right, but I'm thinking just south of Briar, whatever, Greenbrier. Like directly north.
Okay, like sewer wise, but gravity sewer you're above.
Okay, okay.
I mean, it'd be a pump station at Twin Cities no matter what.
Mhm.
But it would be closer to talk to us.
Sure, definitely. I just.
All right, well, I'm just calling Doyle. There you go.
His. Oh my gosh.
Cities.
So their house looks really nice, and that's why I called it.
Okay. Well, that's all, like I said, I kind of thought I'd want to talk about. Haley, I think, you know, if you kind of followed what I was talking about, with walking and kayaking and community center, that's master plan stuff, so.
I mean, we kind of got several properties around. It's like you take it as drives. Miller's over here. Yep. You know, big field where you get to their house.
Yep, yep.
I mean, you have several right, just right across the river that,
That's the thing, they're all across. the-
yeah.
What exactly is the high water mark of the outside bank of the river? That's what the town charter says, right?
Yeah,
How do we define outside bank? Kind of just go up the river and then choose another bank.
Well, the outside bank is the far side. So the town's inside it.
Right.
But I read that too. I always thought the town went to the center of the river.
I thought that like down by the cemetery, Crosley owned to the middle of the river and then whoever owned that property owned to the middle of the river.
That's the
Yeah.
yes. And most of it.
What they do is consider something if it's happened.
Mhm.
And if it's not, you so the high water bank, but river, because then you're kind of happy down to their press
Oh,
There's,
I mean, there's, you know, those kind of,
yeah.
oh, and there's case law and the period. The easiest thing is just if a deed says to the river, it's the center. Easiest thing is- And if it has water, you can't tell something to get out of it.
Right.
But that's, now if they climb up on the bank,
Then it changes.
that's a different.
Yeah.
But that's why with the commons, being Jackson Street, going down there, on the other side, Jackson Street going down. We're safe.
Okay.
Now, if they get out somewhere else. All right, well, that was all I was hoping we talked about, and I think I'll keep pursuing, go ahead. Sure.
Okay, I don't know how many years ago, the state board of accounts said everybody that had any contact with any kind of money had to watch this internal controls.
Mhm.
Did everybody watch that? I know.
Well, I don't know how you're supposed to watch.
Well, I don't either, and I know we're probably gonna get an audit. They're probably gonna come in sometime this fall. I think it'd be a great idea, since we got dinged on it last time, that we all just rewatch it, sign the form that we watched it. So, yeah,
Sorry, tell
so I'll send you guys the link, it's just 22 minutes, and then I'll bring the form next time and everybody can sign it. Yeah, I mean, it used to be you had to watch it once, but honestly, I don't know where the forms are that people signed the last time, so,
I think I made a folder and
okay.
I got it there.
Well, I'll just send the link out, and so Mary and the library folks, they don't have access to our money, right? They're just helping us to facilitate that program, right? I'm sure they've already signed it anyway, all of those folks, so, okay.
Well, now, since you brought that up, after looking at the newspaper and all the line items about JNRU, we
Yeah,
want to make sure we do everything
From
properly,
and
documented. We have contracts, we have agreements, we have, et cetera,
yeah. We,
because
we're not late on any debt payments. And, I don't know, I mean, I went through that, and I was just thinking, the only thing, like, we've turned a couple of reports in late. Everything's on Gateway that needs to be on Gateway.
they have things that go.
And Mary Jo and I don't make $140,000 a year.
The
No,
imagination.
we are, I mean, there's some of this that you can't control, like, we have to hire an outside person if you.
yeah, like the
You know,
internal controls, we're always gonna get dinged on that because, yeah, so.
We try our.
That, the bank statement thing that everybody has to sign, that's one thing that is a control, and they really like that, so just keep doing stuff like
And that's
that.
And then now with recording and posting minutes. But yeah, just a lot of little things, but it's hard to believe how far it went.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
And like Mary Jo said today, didn't they have an attorney?
Somebody looking, and why did it go on so long, you know?
I have a couple of things just to bring up. Thanks to Amber. I've heard of the work we know that we made $1,831.28 in spring comic this year.
130, how much?
1831.28.
That with the previous spring tonics, except for that first year, because that went into the town
Yes, and the
gym fund and it's been spent. Anyway, so it's been sitting in the Friends of Historic Vernon. So between the 3 or 4 years of spring tonic and then our trivia program, we have right at $10,000 to put towards the bathrooms.
Good. And then The other thing I wanted to share, and I out for that, if anyone would like to, again, again, you need a copy.
I don't, but Mary Jo likes the.
Hazel, would you like one?
Yeah, no.
Would you like to talk? The other thing, I just dropped by and talked to Kelly Kent at the Community Foundation because I wanted to understand what, if any, funds were set up to benefit the town of Vernon. And we do have a fund called the Ben and Mary Barber Endowment for Vernon Improvement Projects. We've probably, I think, accepted or seen the distribution. It's just like a few $100s each year in the past, but it's come to the town for that. Have we not? Okay.
They're Reese.
Okay, so there's also Ben and Mary Barber Fund that we need to ask about there and make sure that that's, they're at least contacting us each year about what we want to do. But the reason I bring that up, the reason I asked Kelly Kent about it was I wanted to see if that fund was very flexible, if we ever came into a one-time amount of money that we wanted to create an endowment, generate revenue in the long term for the town, that's not tax revenue. I just had the thought of where would we put that money? That fund is extremely flexible. Basically, the description says it's to benefit the purposes of the town of Vernon. In serving the community of Vernon. So if we ever needed a location for a large sum of money, and then endowment was the path that we wanted to take for using part or all of that fund, then I think that would be an appropriate vehicle to do so. I just wanted everyone to know that information. And also, if we know anyone who's looking to donate large sums or doing estate planning, it's totally considered. But for now, the amount that's in the fund is, yeah, I think it's maybe half of what the historical society has, so it's just a few $100s or several $100s a year max that you would get out of that.
They even get, so it's a few thousand.
And so I think like around maybe 10,000.
If there's 10,000, I think you get the
Send
Yeah.
some shit.
Right.
Yeah, they do for that Margaret Reese.
Okay, well, we should also be hearing about this other fund, and I guess we haven't been, so we can be inquire.
Yeah, unless they put it in with the Margaret Reese one.
Well,
I never, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Some study. So.
Right.
well, this was set up in 1999, so it's been around a long time.
Well, he did set up something one time. Council,
Okay,
but
that was the other question I had is who are Ben and Mary, because I
Is it
haven't
Mary?
had a chance to.
no.
This- the ones with houses. They lived in that. Right.
Oh,
Let's see.
Benny Barber,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, second dance.
Liquor store used to be drugs.
Okay,
And I think
I didn't know her name was Mary. I knew she passed away, didn't you?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, he had been,
I know he had set up something. When he was on the council, because he had gotten some money someplace. But at the time, they said it was just for that. Player.
okay. On in the terms of the endowment, it just says like to benefit basically what the town is executing and carrying out. Yeah. Yeah. That's all. I just want to share that.
One other thing, I sold the water meters,
Oh, yeah.
$640.
and cleaned out that bay, cause they were all over the floor.
Excellent.
Excellent job, thanks. Our interns, I thought they did a good job this summer.
I had we were working today. For some reason, we hadn't ever done anything on Pike Street from the arch down to Ripley or on Ripley and the other day.
Thanks.
And they go back and do them.
What's going on with the lift station projects, anything?
I've got a meeting August 5th, I think, but they're still ordering.
Okay.
But I think they're gonna start in mid-August. Watershed. On that, everything is over 2 weeks and regular business and do the regular agenda. Yeah, I didn't think there was anything we needed to take action on today.
We just have claims and minutes, but we can do that next time.
We think we can put them on the check.
From this community, what they need.
We feel. I mean, this. You pay something.
We did pass that ordinance,
I think you're.
that says we can pay payroll and, utilities and things like that without council approval. We did that when Shelley was here,
Yeah,
cause I thought she's gonna have an issue, take issue.
All right. At 5:32. Pretty good or not?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Haley, thank you.
can you hit stop?